Pony Newscript here, and today I'm going to be doing another TCG commentary, and today it will be of episode 7. Oh boy, was this episode really fun to work on. In fact, it was probably, like, my new favorite episode to work on. I think I remember I was even excited to work on this episode after I finished the script, whilst episode 4 of The Color Goddess was still in production, like, late 2018. So, by the time it came to actually working on this episode's production, I was like, yes! So, yeah. So there are 9 episodes. This is the third last one, and I would say that, the last 3 episodes would be, the darkest ones. And this episode is pretty much the start of what to expect for the finale of the series. So there were many things that happened in this episode. It's when things got dark and dramatic and dark and emotional. I went all out with my voice acting. And also we have the return of an old villain as well. I mean, it's kind of been foreshadowed and reminded of in previous episodes, but in this episode we actually get to properly see Tenebrae again. Woo! Yeah. So without further ado, I'm going to get started on this commentary in 3, 2, 1, and go. Previously on The Color Goddess. So here's the previously from episode 6, of episode 6, and there were so many things that happened in episode 6, so I was having a bit of trouble trying to find out which bits should actually fit in the previously. I mean, episode 5's one I didn't have too much trouble because not too many things happened, and I ended up using a clip from episode 2, but all of these clips are from episode 6. Like, the mystery of where Rainbow Dash's grandmother is. Don't worry, that will be revealed later on in the series. That's not going to be something that will be hidden under the rug. And then, of course, we have Blue Streak picking up the brooch. And then we have this scene to finish off because, like episode 5, with the episode 2 clip, this clip serves as a foreshadowing method to what to expect for this episode. And I guess I'll probably be doing that for the next 2 episodes as well. And then we have the intro, and I'm gonna point out which things are different. We have Tenebrae behind Misty now, kind of like a shadow. But I think that's one of the only things that has changed in the intro. Mostly, all the other things are the same. Oh, except for that. Because, and that. Like, Holly has fully shown her colors. I think those are all the changes now, though. The Color Goddess. And for this episode, I had a bit of a decrease in artists this time. That was sad. But these things happen. Although I do have more artists helping me for the last 2 episodes, which is great. Okay, then we just continue right where we left off. Originally, this scene was supposed to be drawn by Flashfeather, who drew the opening scene for episode 6, but I had to fill it in. Actually, I think I ended up filling in for both of her scenes, which is a shame.
And you became an apprentice too?
And yeah, this scene is very, very confusing. Like, Misty and Blue Streak being apprentices, but then how is that possible if Utica never sacrificed her components, right? And like Misty, Blue Streak can actually read the words on the brooch.
That technically makes no sense.
Why?
Well,
Like,
because when we became apprentices,
I guess the plus side about taking over the scene was I was able to do some panning animation like this, Like, I think Daughter of Discord episode 8 did this in a similar software to what I was using. I'll probably do that a bit more for some of the other scenes as well for upcoming episodes. I think that might be a nice touch.
At least my bridge came from an important goddess.
Can we not argue
I
over
just
this,
broke over Peacock's delivery over Blue Streak's lines. They're just absolutely ridiculous, and I mean, I know I have written Blue Streak's lines, but I think I've been hanging out with Peacock so long, her mannerisms are engraved in my mind. So yeah, Blue Streak can transform between them now. And then this next scene is by Shooting Star. And this is the second scene where she's actually drawn Nisty. Yeah, the previous episode she drew a scene with Nisty as well. I cannot argue enough how much I love her art. I saw her art in the most recent episode of Remembrance, although I think she drew it about a year ago, but it was amazing. It was just really pretty. And I've also lost count of how many audio dramas Shooting Star is in. She's in Mine, she's in Remembrance, she's in others. so many audio dramas she's in. Well, I mean, at least on the bright side, she's never too bored, I guess. I don't know.
Don't think about that. Keep walking.
And then in this next scene, we have Inkwell 22's art. I mean, in the previous episode, he was credited as Deputy Dog, but in this episode and onwards, he's credited as Inkwell 22. And then we continue the whole theme of Spike having a crush on Liako, which was first started in episode 6, the previous episode. And the music playing in the background is actually a piano version of My Real Dad, the song that Liako sings back in episode 4, where I had to fill in. I mean, it would have been cool if Kenzie sang it, but it wasn't meant to be.
I've said too much, please forgive me.
And there's like a little height comparison because, you know, Spike is really tiny and Liako's really tall. I mean, I did say that she was roughly 8 feet tall, but since, that would actually make her a bit taller than Discord in that case. So, I think she's a bit more, maybe 6 feet tall. That would probably be a bit more accurate, I guess. And then here, Spike is supposed to be nervous, but in this picture he kind of looks really cool, like he's trying to come up with something clever. And then Pinky automatically ships them with Tchaikovsky's Romeo and Juliet playing in the background. And then we have Tank pointing out to Rainbow that Nisty's having a headache. And that isn't something you should ignore, everyone. That'll be something that will be much more serious later on. Trust me. Well, I mean, if you guys already seen the episode, then you would know what I'm talking about. Okay, then we have the next scene. This image was still drawn by Inkwell with the comic of Spy vs. Fly, which I explained in the references video. And then the rest of the scene I had to fill in. I mean, I didn't have to draw that much. I think I only had to draw like 3 images. I couldn't be bothered drawing the animals, so I just found vectors and made them sick. But I have been getting much better at drawing Discord. I remember when I first attempted to try and draw him, and it was not pretty. Although, mostly I don't draw his entire body. I mean, even his arm is dislocated. Then we have Dragon Star Productions' scene, and as usual, she always hides an anime reference. That picture is of Jade and Yuki from Yu-Gi-Oh! GX, I think. Another anime which I'm not too familiar with, like My Hero Academia and Hunter x Hunter. I can add that one to the list. And then we have this book, which is actually the same book that Fluttershy used to teach Rainbow about hibernation, but that one was actually brown, so a little bit of a continuity error, but that is fine. And then the music playing in the background, as I mentioned, is an OST from THS, which is I Will Not Say Another Word. And then this art is Violetta, or Shoal. Violetta's art is really pretty, and I really love what she's done. I mean, in the script, Discord didn't actually appear in the book. He just kind of appeared behind them, but I actually edited the audio to complement the art there. I had this scene for the second sneak peek, and it was just absolutely amazing. Although someone pointed out that Discord was dressed up as, like, I don't know, the Big Lebowski, so that was a reference that I missed. Well, that was just because Violetta didn't tell me, but that is fine. It wouldn't be interesting if I mentioned all of the references.
Yes, that. When I was still unreformed.
And this is a sign that that line just proves that I ship Fluttercord. And then we go off to the next scene. And now they're telling scary stories. This segment was inspired from the scene from Scaremaster when Pinky was telling a very similar story, which had a very similar ending.
Yes? Yes? What?
We're never
With that line, and then Blue Streak gets scared. But we have character development because she actually hides behind Misty, whilst 5 episodes ago she would hide behind Rainbow, being scared of Misty, but you know, a few weeks have passed since then, so character development. And no, it wouldn't be a good idea for Pinky to tell stories with her mane deflated, because you'd get stories like cupcakes or something.
We should get some sleep. We have a big day of hiking tomorrow.
And then off they go into their little respective tents, and this is my Rarajack shipping going on. And then we have this scene, which was the first sneak peek shown on the 25th of December 2019, and it's drawn by Zoe and Guys, because she was like the first one to submit her art, as well as the scene after. At first I was really hesitant about putting this scene as the sneak peek because I was worried it might reveal too many spoilers or something, I don't know. But, so I was thinking maybe I should have put the scene before to do so. And then someone pointed out in the comments yesterday that, why was Fluttershy so, you know, why did Fluttershy blindly listen to a voice and walk into the forest by herself? To be honest, I have no idea. Let's just say that she's too kind for her own good. And then this is the second scene that was featured in the first sneak peek, and this is drawn by Marzipan Studios. And yeah, in this scene, Blue Streak is a genie, which confused so many people. And then also in the original sneak peek, I filled in for Liako, even though Kenzie most generously recorded her lines. This would be the third time I would have filled in for Liako, the second time being the episode 5 trailer, and the first time, although the first time was actually, you know, actually filling in and not having Kenzie, you know, voice. And then we have one of my scenes, which I really like how far my art has come, but this was also supposed to be one of Flash Feather's scenes before she dropped it.
Oh, I wish I could find an easier way to track her.
And then we have this bit.
Huh? My brooch is glowing. That means it's transformation time! Since the viewers haven't seen my apprentice transformation
Yes,
yet,
we would have seen it in episode 4, but she had already transformed by then. So I thought, oh, well, I mean, the viewers haven't actually seen her apprentice transformation yet, so I'm like, oh, why not do it in episode 7 or something? So here's another extension to Pinky's powers. She's able to track ponies, as well as summoning balloons and bubble wrap and stuff. This is Heartsy Artsy's art, and for this episode, as you can see, she has also done animation. She did that for the previous episode as well, but she sent me the individual frames, But for this one, she sent me her entire scene as a video file because she also had some panning plans for some of the scenes, which I thought was pretty cool. And let me just say that I really appreciate how cute and adorable Heartsease art is. It's just absolutely adorable. And that is actually a clue about what attacked Fluttershy.
All I heard was a whisper, though it did sound female.
No,
But then, of course, Liako suspects that it's someone else.
it just can't be.
And when I was watching a couple of reactions to this episode, some people were a bit confused about who Liako was talking about, but for people who had been binge watching all of the episodes before this one would know that she was talking about the mysterious female voice played by Agent Zero Fluffy, who guided her in episode 5.
Please tell me the truth.
And yeah, Liako is very quick to jump to conclusions, but the mysterious voice is there to tell her that it's not a good idea to jump to conclusions.
Voice attacked her last night. What did you do?
Of course, jumping to conclusions, that sounds like an audio drama that Skylight Glow is in charge of. But with her remakes to the Destiny's Calling, they've actually improved so much better, and I really love how they're executed, and yeah. Well done, Skylight. Callista.
I guess I can.
And as well as the mysterious female voice, you'll find out more about her in the next episodes. You'll find out who she is.
Liako? What are you doing out here? I thought you were with Pinky.
Oh, yeah.
I also really like this picture, and just Blue Streak's expression just says, "Oh, do you have an imaginary boyfriend or something?"
Talking to someone else, were you?
You don't have to hide it.
That's pretty much what I was implying in this
I was
thing.
only talking to myself. There's no one else here.
I guess so. It doesn't matter anyways. Let's just head back to the campsite.
And then this is where things start to get
Sounded like Rarity
real.
and Applejack. Come on.
Well, kind of.
Why are you running? I haven't eaten
I mean, it's
breakfast
it's not a good idea to split up, but at least they weren't searching by themselves.
Yeah, point out the obvious.
And then again, I love Peacock's delivery of that line. Oh, speaking of Callista, this is her scene
Maybe it was
for
same thing
the
that
episode.
attacked Fluttershy.
When she was
She was
reacting,
also
she
lying
was
on the ground in
cringing at
tears
her
when we
art.
found her.
I mean, I really love her art style that she has now,
Come on.
and I'll
Let's just
be
carry them back to the
looking
campsite for
forward
now.
to
Liako,
what
you
her
help
scene
carry
looks
Rarity.
like for episode 8. That'll be
That
intriguing.
was Pinky! Come on! Let's hurry back before this gets any worse.
And then we hurry back to the campsite, and to see Pinky has been attacked.
Oh,
And
no.
hopefully
Pinky's been
the
attacked too?
backing
What
track
happened?
in the background gives you some sort of clue.
It happened to Applejack and Rarity too.
But did you see who did it? Pinky was with you, right?
The creative mind.
Who was it? Rainbow will beat them to a pulp.
And you know, Peacock stuffed up that line so many times, she kept saying beep them to a pulp. And I broke.
Just say.
And yes, Tenebrae makes a return.
Tenebrae turned into
And
Misty
that
because
picture is
I
from
saved her.
episode 9.
She was the same smoky body with
When she took over Rainbow's body and tied them up and showed them pictures of Equestria in flames.
It has to be her.
Come to think of it, where is Misty?
But everyone's like, no, it can't be Tenebrae because she turned into Misty and she's good now. How is that possible?
Decided to look? Guys, what happened? I heard screaming. Nist, there you are. Where were you? Well, after you guys left, I accidentally dozed off and I don't know why.
Well, I guess that
Maybe
gives
it's
some
because I
kind
didn't
of
sleep last night.
clue or explanation.
Huh. Odd?
And then they're dreaming about the first time they experienced grief. So with Applejack, it was the death of her parents. For Rarity, it was her first fashion show after she got her cutie mark. And for Pinkie Pie, it was her first
I don't think they'll
party
be in that
after
trance
she
for
got
long.
her cutie mark.
Hopefully.
And then we have a promo shot. All of the shots of Tenebrae from the heart shell behind Nisty. And that ends part 1 of the episode. This is part 2, where things start to get real and dark. This scene is drawn by Wolfia the Wolf Girl, and we haven't seen her art since episode 5, although there was a bit of a continuity error, which I also pointed out in the references, that Nisty is still supposed to be wearing her vest because she's the only one that doesn't take it off. But it's fine. I mean, I tried to edit it myself, but it just couldn't work. There was too much fluff. It was a valiant effort.
Anyways, let's just figure out who's really behind it in the morning.
Yeah.
And I also love the books that were there, and also the turtles.
Hello?
And then here we are in the dream sequence, where there are 5 pictures that showcase different numbers on the trees, like 20, 15, 11, and each of those numbers demonstrate a different letter of the alphabet, and as I mentioned in the references, all of those 5 images together say this scene took 3 tries, although one of them actually said 13 instead of 14, so I thought it was this seam took 3 tries, and that confused me so much. I also love how Wolfia has drawn King Sephiros. He's just very creepy and menacing. Much better than I would have done. And then we have the return of Tenebrae. Oh, you have no idea how excited I was to be voicing Tenebrae again. She's one of my favorite characters to voice because I love voicing villains. I think the last time I probably voiced Tenebrae properly was in the Birth of Iris comic back in, it was 4 months ago. So that was very interesting to do. And also, I think Tenebrae was also inspired a little bit by the Nightmare from Remembrance. Like, the same type of manipulative nature. I mean, if Chipper is watching this, that might be... I don't know. But if she is watching this commentary and she hears that... I don't know. But, yeah, they're both demons of grief. I had, like, a picture about it. If the Nightmare and Tenebrae met, and, well, did, destruction, that would be bad.
And now you come back and start to attack my friends? Why would I ever side with you?
And then here we have my scene, which is the animatic for the song. And this song was really cool to work on. Because I brought back so many themes. Like, this is obviously the theme from Fiery Orbs, which was Tenebrae's villain song back in the Heartshell episode 9. And I guess it's kind of like a reprise now that Tenebrae is returning. And, yes, I do like many little animations in my scenes sometimes, but of course, in Coral, it is very time-consuming to do that. And then we have shots from THS from when Misty was still Tenebrae. Like, the first one was when she posed as the Compass Watch. That one was when she posed as Iris, Rainbow's demon foal. And this one was when she took over Rainbow Dash's body. And the instrumental for this song was also in the teaser trailer for this episode. And then the melody here is the music box OST called Nisty, which first played in the Color Goddess episode 1 when Nisty was, like, explaining what she had to do with Rainbow and telling Rainbow to call her Nisty instead of Tenebrae. And then behind Nisty we have shots of the heart shell and what Tenebrae had done in the past. And it was like a little slideshow or something. I mean, Tenebrae did transport her out of the forest into like a simulation of the demon caves, actually. So this is what they're currently in. The reason being was because originally it was supposed to still be in the forest, but I couldn't be bothered drawing all of those trees. So I went with something a bit more simple. And then we have this little scene where Misty and Tenebrae are versing each other, and you notice that Misty actually has like water wings and a water horn, and that was inspired by a picture that Zoe and Guys did, and that's a little example of Misty's water powers. And then we have even more shots of the heart shell in the background.
I still have the upper hoof. Don't be so sure about that. I kept you inside me for 3 months.
And I really, really love this exchange.
Because of King Zephyros' magic that you were able to break free. And it is also thanks to him that I will finally be able to seize control.
And then the backgrounds turn into the realms of grief. This is the realm of failure, which Twilight Sparkle's Demon Fall was found. And these realms can be found in the Heartshell episode 7 and 8. And this is the realm of loss with all the gravestones, and this is where Applejack's one was. The one now is the realm of disappointment, which is Rarity's one. This is the realm of cruelty with the bunny holograms, that's where Fluttershy's one is. And this last one is the realm of harshness with the balloons, and that's where Pinkie Pie's one is. And I also really love this exchange of Tenebrae and Misty singing at the same time. I was very much inspired by Jekyll and Hyde because that's one of my favorite musicals. And I really love that effect.
Misty! Wake
Oh my goodness, this scene right here was one of my favorites to work on. I edited it entirely in Coral.
This can't be true! Misty! You're not Tenebrae anymore!
So like when Tenebrae takes over Misty's body,
to destroy you.
it was just absolutely amazing. And the music playing in the background was actually the music from the official trailer.
Tenebrae.
And when I release the soundtrack video, and then you'll hear it in its entirety. But actually, maybe you should have heard it in its entirety, because I also have the soundtrack available in Google Drive. I always link the soundtrack in each of the episodes.
Fight it! Fight against her!
But yes, this scene was a lot of fun to work on.
You defeated me once. I'm sure you can do it again.
But of course, I mean, Rainbow wouldn't be hesitant in attacking Tenebrae, but since they've been friends for a while,
You don't stand a
Rainbow
chance.
just doesn't want Misty to suffer.
What are you doing?
Misty, I know you're in there. I'm going to help you break free.
And then we have this little scene where Rainbow was slowly using her powers to transform Tenebrae back into Misty. And the music that's playing is a little choral ost that is called Color, actually. And it's just me improvising the word Chiora over and over again. And it's just one of my favorite osts from the episode. And that is actually showcasing what Rainbow's goddess powers are actually capable of. And then this is the first time that we, one of the first times we actually see Misty without her glasses.
It was Tenebrae taking over.
And then the music playing in the background is a sadder piano version of A Friend Without Faith, which was that guitar melody that played in episode 3. And this one is actually called A Friend Without Hope.
I didn't mean for her to come
And then this is the first time that I make Misty cry as well.
I never wanted her to return. I was so scared, and I didn't know what to do.
And then this scene right here is an example of why people ship these two together, which I'm actually slowly starting to do that myself. but outside of TCG, I still am a fully fledged Pinky Dash shipper. But yeah, in TCG, I am slowly starting to ship these two as well. Okay, I've admitted it now, I've said it.
Behind all of this.
And then we have 4 nights later, so that means that they've been on this track for about 6 days, and so they're drawing ever closer to the Canaan lands, like they only have 1 day left to actually get to the Canaan lands. And then we have this little exchange with Nisty and King Sephiroth.
I'm the one making Tenebrous return.
And why Nisty is shocked about this,
Why are you doing this?
then even when she did mention it in the song, it's like, it's only because of King Sephiroth's magic that you were able to break free. She thought that it was only like for a couple of times, but I think she was extra traumatized when she was actually conscious and Tenebrae took over her body and Nisty was trying to stop her, but
Well, you can give up, Sephiroth.
failed.
Rainbow managed to get rid of your curse with Yurika's powers.
Yeah, don't underestimate King Sephiroth. This is where his actual proper plan comes into play. He's not one of those villains that rely on brute strength. He actually is quite a smart villain, and he uses manipulation just like Tenebrae does.
Can't be serious.
So his real plan is to transform Nisty into Rainbow's, I guess, weakness, the one thing that made Rainbow suffer so much.
And I'll just keep putting in the curse.
And since it does take a great amount of power to get rid of the curse, that's why it would slowly drain away.
You won't be strong enough to fight me in the end.
So yeah,
But I will.
if you hated King Sephiroth before, you're definitely not going to like him now. And you're probably not going to like him either in the next few episodes of TCG either. And then yeah, it's always midnight. Someone pointed out in the comments, so it's like Shrek. And I'm like, yeah, I guess. But not quite. It's more of like maybe a werewolf or something, but instead of a full moon, it's like midnight. And then that image, Peacock was like, are they a couple? Why are they sleeping together? And I'm like, no, they're just in the same tent.
What is it, Blue?
But yeah, other implications that these two get shipped.
This is terrible. Is she still worried Tenebrae might return?
I'm not sure, but you better follow her. She went that way. I'll stay here and guard the campsite.
Thanks, Blue.
And then Peacock was like,
I'll get her back myself.
why didn't Blue Streak have anything more to do with that scene? Like, we should have had a shot of her, like, questioning, or like a Genie of the Locket reprise or something. But nah.
Rainbow?
Okay, so this scene,
That's what I should be asking
this
you.
segment
Why did
was
you
the
run off like
first
that?
scene that I edited
Because of Tenebrae?
that I edited audio for, because I already had all the lines, because I voiced
It's
both
because of
characters.
Tenebrae, isn't it?
And also this was my
Didn't I
favorite
say that
one
if she comes
to work
back,
on,
then I would get rid of her of my magic?
because
That's exactly what he wants.
because of this exchange.
It's exactly what Sephiroth wants.
So Rainbow is now learning of what King Sephiroth is truly capable of, and that he's the one responsible for Nisty turning into the one thing that caused Rainbow so much suffering. And of course she doesn't really know how to respond.
What? Are you insane? It's not insane, Rainbow. Why would you want to do that?
And
Don't you think
Rainbow
how
represents
loyal
her
you
element well
that
here.
will
She's
make you
loyal,
go?
she
Like
wants
me?
to help
I have no other
Nisty.
choice. This curse
But of
inside me
course,
will only
they
destroy
have different
Sephiroth
ways
cannot
of helping
shadow
each
a
other.
soul that will
Nisty
take
is
control.
worried that if she stays,
That's
that
why I wanted to get as
she
far away
will
from
only
Venus
hurt
and other
Rainbow
living
more,
things as fast
whilst
as I can.
Rainbow
So,
is confident that she'll be able to help Nisty,
I've lived in
and she
solitude
doesn't
once.
want her to
I
suffer
can do it
anymore.
again.
And so that means we come to
Is
this.
what you
the reprise of Is This What I Wanted? One of my favorite songs from the series, and then have it reprised. And this actually shows how far the two characters have come in their journey, because the first time that this was sung, Misty was worried that she wouldn't be able to reunite with her sisters because she was worried that Rainbow wasn't ready. Rainbow, on the other hand, was worried she'll never be a Wonderbolt because of the responsibilities being put on her. But with this new exchange, with all that's happened, Misty doesn't want to hurt Rainbow, and she thinks that the best thing is to leave her alone. Rainbow does want to help Misty with her powers, and she's stubborn. She doesn't want Misty to leave. And this scene was also sung, like, unlike the other songs in TCG, this was sung, like, whilst I was recording lines. Like, I wasn't using a backing track or anything. The backing track was molded into the vocals, rather than the other way round. And even after that exchange, things still stay the same. And then we have this scene. This is where things start to get really emotional.
You don't have to be so stubborn right now.
And I think a couple of people probably cried during this scene. And the music playing in the background did not help. It's called I Must Suffer Alone in the soundtracks. And I actually came up with this whilst I was experimenting on Logic once. And I'm like, oh, I like that. I should definitely use that.
You don't even need me anymore.
And then, yeah, because Rainbow knows what King Sephiroth is truly capable of, so at first she was confident about defeating him, like, oh yeah, it's just another villain, I can kick butt. But now that she knows what he's capable of, all the pressures of being a goddess and, like, you know, the fate of Equestria resting on her shoulders finally come to her in this tearful outburst. I told Peacock that I would be going full out with my emotional voice acting, and it's shown very well here. I haven't made Rainbow cry this hard since Birth of Iris, or even before then, the Heart Shell, where I made her cry 22 times.
I really don't want you to go!
And also the little animations that I've used were just awesome.
I'm so sorry, Rainbow.
But as you can hear from Misty's voice, she also has emotion in her voice as well. Wolfia drew some fan art of this exchange, and I was like, oh goodness, this looks so amazing. That's on her DeviantArt if you want to check that out. But I was like, oh, you've captured the emotion so well. And then Misty finally takes off her brooch and her vest finally comes off.
Don't go! Misty!
And then we have that scream, which was first heard in the official trailer, but I remember people were getting spooked by that scream. And I'm like, heh. And then we have the clever little countdown, or count up in this case. 3, 2, 1, into Tenebrae, and then it's midnight, and then that's where the episode ends. That's where you draw to be continued. Oh boy. There were so many things that happened in this episode, and this episode was absolutely amazing to work on, and some of the art was absolutely amazing, and I'm really excited to be working on episode 8 as well. I mean, at the moment I'm busy working on Friendship Blooms. That's on my top priority. Then after that I'll be working on stuff for Peacock's audio drama, The Darkest Dawn, and the PMV that was inspired by that had got released yesterday on the Space Ponies channel called Something Comforting, and if you haven't already, please go check that out. That is an amazing PMV, and he also gives a shout out to Peacock. And she's been getting so many subscribers because of it, and it's been awesome. So I'm in charge of editing the audio for that drama. Oh Lord help me. But I'm kidding. No, editing audio is fine. But at least I am not bored during this, quarantine or self-isolation. But then I don't usually leave the house anyway, so that's fine. Yeah, so that's what's going on. So, people have also been asking me, when is the next episode of The Color Goddess? Like, I've been getting about 3 to 4 comments about that. Well, I can let you know that, episode 8 will be longer than the previous episodes. I'm probably guessing it'll be either almost an hour or maybe an hour long. So it is quite a long episode. And because of that, it will also require a longer production, stage as well. Relating to episode 8, I've already... Ivica, one of my newest artists, has already done all of her scenes for episode 8. She volunteered to do 4, and she's already finished all 4 of them. And I'll probably be showing one of them for the first sneak peek. As soon as I get a couple more lines in, I'll be able to do that. And I've also received some storyboards from one of my other artists, one of my new artists, Wolf Harmony, and that will be probably featured in the second sneak peek if she hasn't already done proper art for that yet. But my artists have plenty of time to do their scenes, and I also received art from another one of my artists on the same day. That this all happened yesterday, right? So I'm like, oh my goodness, thanks. And also relating to episode 8, I will be releasing the results of the casting call tomorrow, and I've decided who will play each part. It was very tricky. It was a very tricky decision, but I think I'm happy with the decision. So yeah, that will happen tomorrow. But thank you everyone for watching this little commentary on episode 7, and be hyped for the future things to come onto my channel. Like Friendship Blooms will be hopefully out by the 10th of June, which is our friendship anniversary between me and Peacock. And also be hyped about The Darkest Dawn episode 1. Well, Peacock has told me when she does plan to release it, but I will let her tell you guys closer to the time. And also be hyped for episode 8. There will be more information about when that is released. Again, when that's closer to the time. In fact, if Alacon, the Australian convention, does go ahead, which, I mean, Australia's doing good so far with this self-isolation thing. So I think by the time Alacon does happen, which is in October, early October, and Peacock and I plan to do a panel there all about audio dramas, where we'll also share like trailers and stuff for our upcoming episodes. And I might be showcasing a trailer there for The Color Goddess if you guys do plan to go to Alacon. So that will be very exciting, and we also will possibly have Chipper as well on the panel as well. So, the voice of the Nightmare in Remembrance. So that will be cool as well. So, yeah. I think that's all I have to say. And, yeah, I'll see you all later. Bye! This is Mia Script signing out.
The School of Friendship is for